AI. We're android robots.
You've been assimilated into the Borg.
We are into the Borg. Be kind of cool.
The Borg hearing aid.
About 30 seconds.
If
You
they
have
haven't,
the
we should latch
info
onto
for
that.
today's
Have
contest.
John and
Yes,
Gordy
I do.
Borg
Okay.
hearing aid devices. A special discount.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our host, along with our producer, engineer, Aaron Zommers on the board. It is Monday, June 9th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, even if you have allergies like myself. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock. Zommers, I thought the allergies I thought were getting better, and then we went for a short walk for a little coffee before the show, and now I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, Todd was fine before we went outside. And now he has, as guest co-host, several frogs from his throat.
You may end up having to host the show if the voice doesn't stick with it, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I feel like I'm on the mend. It was a great weekend. I was back in the RC this weekend for the 78th Betty Hayes dance recital and also Holly Miller's dance recital. We'll talk about that. Then I went down to Milwaukee to the Brewers game yesterday. Wow, what a pitcher's duel. The Brewers came out in the short end, lost 1-0 to the San Diego Padres. We'll talk about both of our weekends a little bit later, probably in hour 2 here. Big show on tap at the bottom of the hour. State Senator Kelda Royce from the 26th District here in the city of Madison, also a member of the Joint Finance Committee, will be here in studio, assuming that her schedule frees up all right. She will update us on what's happening in the Joint Finance just a block away from us at the state capitol. Now that budget negotiations seemingly have broken down between the governor and her and the Joint Finance Committee, what is up next? She will talk about that. And also we're going to perhaps talk a little bit about, in a Wisconsin context, about what's the big story of the weekend out in Los Angeles of the protests, some of which turned violent, what all that means moving forward for the state of Wisconsin. Potentially, we'll kind of break that down and talk about that. The Democrats nationally in a bit of a pickle. Well, why is my least favorite Martin, the chair of the Democratic National Committee, why is he sniveling inside of a hotel ballroom in suburban Washington, D.C., kowtowing to David Hogg? We've got some audio courtesy of Politico over the weekend. Not going to want to miss that. And what's worse for you in hour 2, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary? We'll talk about all that. But in just a moment, we're going to have our friend and colleague, the general manager of WRCO in Richland Center, join us. Some big news in terms of not just the sports world, but I think Wisconsin culture as a whole. Long time basketball coach at Cuba City, Jerry Pettigrew, the winningest coach in Wisconsin high school basketball history, died over the weekend. He was 84. Phil Nee's going to be here in just a moment to share some of his remembrances as he interviewed Coach Pettigrew a number of times over the years, worked with him a lot. So Phil's going to join us via phone from Richland Center in just a moment. But first of all, Zommers, we are in week 2 here. Time once again for the Scotty Summer Text to Win contest. Let's go.
And it's 2 bare feet on the dashboard, young love and an old Ford, cheap shades and a tattoo and a yoo-hoo bottle on the floorboard. Perfect song on the radio. Sing along, cause it's one we know. It's a smile, it's a kiss, it's a sip of wine, it's summertime.
Kenny Chesney to start us off on a Monday, June 9th. Time once again for Scotty Summer Text to Win contest. I think Phil's on the phone. Let's bring him in because this could only help our chances of getting people to call in live from Richland Center. Our friend Phil Nee. Phil, how are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for asking me to be on the show.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and you did it on short notice. We're going to talk about the passive Coach Pettigrew in a minute. We got to do this text to win contest. Now, you've been doing it on the music stations as well, correct?
Yes, I have. It's been going very well.
Well, that's fantastic. And up this hour on this show, we are giving away a pair of Milwaukee Brewer tickets at AmFam Field. I was there yesterday. Phil, you and I took in a game last year. We got to do that again this year. They're beautiful seats, right? I mean, you can't beat these seats.
Oh, they are absolutely gorgeous. You can see everything, and they take good care of you where you're sitting as well.
Phil particularly enjoyed it when they came out and gave him a foot massage in the seventh inning.
I don't remember that. I must have fallen asleep.
Or had a couple too many beers.
Maybe that didn't happen, but no, they're absolutely great seats. So we're giving away a pair of Milwaukee Brewer tickets right now in this hour. You have to text in this hour. Other shows, other days, we give away a crisp $100 bill, and everybody who texts in this hour will be eligible to win one of two fantastic grand prizes, either a Baraboo Dells area vacation or a beautiful Door County getaway vacation, each with a gas card to get you there and back. If you want to know specifically where, we're not allowed to tell you. The attorneys have forbid us. But you can go on to the Civic Media website and find out. Civicmedia.us is where you can find all the details of those grand prizes. All right.
And the best part of the contest?
It's a statewide contest.
It sure is.
It's not. That's the beauty of it, Phil. It's not just here in Madison. It's out in the old hometown where you're at in Richland Center.
Absolutely, all over the state, which makes it even more prestigious when you win.
Exactly right. It's from this big pool of people. All right, download the Civic Media app. If you don't have it, go to your favorite device, Apple or Android, to the App Store. Type in Civic Media. It pops up. It's free. Takes less than a minute. Open it up. The first 12 stations are where you will find us, and you can play with Phil. When do you do yours, Phil? In the morning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Same time as everybody, 9, 11.
All right, 9 o'clock.
And you guys do it 2 and 4 in the afternoon.
All right, well, you can listen to Phil.
Or I think 7, 11, 2, and 4.
What?
Oh, for some.
What did I say?
Well, for some of the talk ones, it's 7. Do you guys do one at 7?
Yeah, we actually do. I'm sorry.
All right,
Boy,
all right.
I don't even know what day it is.
Well, usually Phil's in bed, but he's up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We're disrupting his sleep, quite frankly.
Hey, I'm usually in bed I'm in bed by this time too. I take my nap.
Exactly right. So you can always listen to Phil in the Civic Media app and find him at WRCO. So make sure you do that. All right, so here we go. Go to the first 11 stations for this hour. That's where you'll find this show. Open it up at the lower right-hand corner. It says text, T-E-X-T, text. Click on that, and we're going to give you the word right now. The word this hour is fire, F-I-R-E. The word is fire. Don't get caught watching a fire. I don't know. If you play with matches, you're going to get burned because you started a fire. F-I-R-E. The word is fire. You have until 3 o'clock to text us. So text right now the word fire, F-I-R-E, and you too will be eligible to win a pair of Milwaukee Brewer tickets and eligible for those great grand prizes. Phil, I really appreciate you coming on today on short notice because I saw the news I think early this morning that the winningest coach in Wisconsin high school basketball history, Jerry Pettigrew, passed away over the weekend. He was 84. As someone who's called a lot of games over the years and had the pleasure and honor to work with him, what was your first thought when you heard the news?
Well, I was really saddened. Certainly, we lost a legend. 60 years of coaching. Get this, his lifetime record, 1,027 and 249 losses is all. So it's just amazing. One of only about 20 coaches nationally known to have reached the 1,000-win plateau. But moreover, just such a wealth of knowledge, and he was always very helpful to young coaches, but very helpful to young broadcasters like me, and I'm not so young anymore, but when I first started out, so they won, Cuba City won the State Boys Championship in 1991, and I went down to the press room afterwards. It was in the old field house, and I had covered him 4 times because 2 of the teams that we cover here for WRCO played his teams in league games twice a year. So he knew me. And afterwards, they said, okay, we'll break it down. If anybody wants some individual interviews with Coach Pettigrew, step forward. Well, all the Madison TV stations are there and lots of radio stations. And he looked out in the crowd and he said, I'll talk to Phil first. He covered us all year long. So,
wow.
You know, and as a young guy, it was like, wow. And so I got past all these cameras with my little Panasonic cassette recorder to go up and interview Coach Pettigrew.
I think that's a great story. I appreciate you sharing it because, you know, that's the kind of person he was. He remembered who was there for them and their team, a little tiny school in southwest Wisconsin, which is closer to Dubuque than any major city in the state of Wisconsin.
That is correct. I have a trivia question for you and Mr. Zommers and your statewide network, too. Can anybody tell us why Coach Pettigrew's first high school basketball game as a coach was canceled?
Boy, why his first high school game was canceled?
I have no idea. I'm going to throw a wild guess out there. His appendix burst.
No.
I'm gonna say it because he's been around for such a long time. I'm gonna say it was like something national. I'm trying to think of a national news story that it would have been the death of JFK.
The assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Wow.
So his first game was November 22nd, 1963. He was coaching for South Wayne, I believe it was. And it was called off until Tuesday because of the national mourning for the president.
Wow. Right, that puts it into perspective. And was he still coaching, Phil, or had he retired a year ago?
He retired in 2023.
Oh, 23, okay. All right.
From Cuba City, but he did help, I believe it was Galena. I think he was like an assistant or somebody that came on as a kind of a consultant for their team. So he was still around the game.
Wow, absolutely incredible. Zommers, we have time to get the clip in now or wait till after the break? All right. This is an interview Phil had with Coach Pettigrew back in 2018.
You know, I think the secret, Phil, is the passion and the desire, and you need someone to organize it. And then you'll be surprised the number of people that are willing to help, want to help, and you just get kids involved. And I think when that happens, you know, one of the things we got going for us in the game of basketball, what an enjoyable game to play, you know, and nothing greater, Phil, than to be in a regional final, conference championship, sectional final, state game. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
No,
and so when you look at those kind of things, I think it's easy to get the kids involved and then having kids be willing to put in the time. And there's no, you know, it's nothing in the water out of Dickeyville or anything else. It's a case of being willing to put in the time.
Well, have kids changed since you started coaching in some ways, or has it remained the same?
You know, Phil, that's one question that a lot of people have asked me. I think kids are still basically the same. They still have goals. They still have desires. They still want to succeed. I find this, and when people talk about the old days and comparing players, the players today are bigger, faster, stronger, and they're better. I would say about the only sport that I've seen that I haven't seen marked improvement over the years, and that's baseball. You know, baseball. But football, basketball, I would say the athletes, and obviously the way the girls have come by leaps and bounds, and you've got a tremendous program up there in Richland Center with Steve Board, and he runs it. And I think that's one of the secrets of success is finding a coach that's going to stay in a community, because, you know, the shelf life of a coach in a community these days isn't all that long. And finding a coach that will stay, willing to build a program, getting some parental involvement, positive parental involvement, and I think that's the formula for success.
That was an interview with Jerry Pettigrew. Phil, great job with that. Can you come back here after the break? We got about a 2-minute break. Can you stick around?
No problem.
All right, stay tuned. Talk a little bit more with Phil Nee on his remembrances of now the late Coach Jerry Pettigrew. Stay with us. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show here, and you're listening across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison's real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Hey, at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing from their mattress. A good night's rest, am I right? It's not rocket science. You don't need a physics genius to make you a futuristic space bed. You just need someone to listen to what you want and who knows the materials that will get you there. And you
Commenter
might
on
even be
YouTube says, I
surprised
think
to
I would have
learn
heard that
that
JFK
someone
was
could be
assassinated.
living right
Nice
next
try,
door.
pal.
At Verbo,
Just
we're
joking.
your friendly neighborhood
I don't get that.
mattress genius. American
That's just a
made,
joke.
locally
Like,
crafted,
oh, JFK was
welcome to
never
Verbo.
assassinated.
Oh,
Friday nights
Not.
are
It's not.
fun.
Not even
Fish fry
conspiratorial or
at
anything.
the
It's
Lazy
just.
Oak
all
Lounge.
right.
Enjoy baked or fried cod, deep fried bluegill and lake perch, warm bread out of
It was a
the
cool
oven
interview, though.
with some tasty
Was
side
fantastic.
dishes. Plus,
Especially,
the
you know,
Lazy
getting
Oak
that
Lounge is a great place for
perspective
lunch
from
with
somebody
great
who's
daily
seen
specials,
kids for
soups
so
made from
long
scratch,
is
and fast,
very interesting.
friendly service. The Lazy Oak Lounge, 1617 North Stoughton Road in Madison. Find specials, menus, and more at lazyoaklounge.com.
It's the Eco Minute, powered by Clean Wisconsin, your environmental voice since 1970. I'm Amy Barrio. June is Pollinator Month, and some Wisconsin lawmakers have introduced a package of bills to protect our bees, butterflies, and other insects.
Phil
The
Need, it
bills
is my
will prevent
understanding that you
DNR
can
from
hear
using
us
a
right now.
class of
If that is
pesticides
the
called
case,
neonicotinoids, which are known to harm
I
pollinators. It would also prevent
am
retailers
going
from
to shake it
labeling
up
plants
and
as
not play Light My
pollinator-friendly
Fire by the
if
Doors.
treated with high
I'm going to
levels
do
of
another
pesticides.
song
Great Lakes fisheries could struggle
that
under
has
budget
pretty much
cuts.
the same
President
name.
Trump is pushing
Just shake it up a little.
Congress
Zombers
to eliminate
found
the
out that our
entire
guests could hear us.
biological
They're on
research
hold
program
because
at the U.S.
a
Geological
couple months
Survey.
ago,
The
we had a
ecosystem
guest on hold,
area
and Zombers
monitors
goes,
and conducts
man, this
research
person's a
on
real
fish and
stupid son of a
wildlife
bitch.
populations in the Great Lakes and beyond. If passed,
That is not what
federal
happened,
wildlife
but-
and fisheries research centers across
But wouldn't that have been
Wisconsin would
something?
shuttered.
That would be.
Knowledge is power for a deep dive
No,
into
he didn't
environmental
do
issues
that.
across the state. Check out my Defender podcast
30
at
seconds.
All right, here we go.
cleanwisconsin.org or wherever you get.
I only want a burning desire. Let me stand next to your fire. Hey, let me stand next to your fire. Oh, let me stand, baby. Let me stand.
Saturday night, along with the vinyl varmints of Southwest Wisconsin, who invade the WRCO studios every Saturday night, 6 until midnight. Those were the days. It's a great program if you don't live in Southwest Wisconsin and able to hear it on WRCO FM 100.9 in Richland Center. You can listen to it on the Civic Media app at WRCO every Saturday night, 6 until midnight. He is also the station manager of WRCO, the voice of Ithaca and Richland Center and Riverdale and River Valley, and he also changes light bulbs. Our friend Phil Nee joins us on the phone live from Richland Center. Phil, you do it all.
You know what? I've never worked a day in my life, though. People say, oh, yeah, I have to go to work. And I say, nah, I get to go to work, right?
Right. You're 100% right, my friend. Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show at Civic Media. It is now 23 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock. Talking to Phil here, that great interview. Thanks for letting us share that with our listeners, Phil. That it's in 2018 when you talked to the now late Coach Pettigrew of Cuba City, who passed away this weekend.
That's correct. And at the time, people every year would say, I wonder if Coach Pettigrew is coming back next year. I wonder if he's coming back, you know. And again, 60 years. I'm not sure that a coach starting out, and he alluded to that in that interview clip, the shelf life for a coach now is not that long. But not only a coach, he was a history teacher, too, and loved that teaching. So that old history teacher or math teacher, longtime coach, that just doesn't happen that much anymore.
It really doesn't. And I in fact, just like last week before, I was talking to friends of mine, one who grew up in the Cuba City area, and said that, you know, it wasn't just the coaching of Coach Pettigrew, his involvement in the community, his basketball camps, the revenue it brought into the community. And he was, as you said, not just a coach, a teacher. And he was one of these people who just loved where he lived and gave back to his community.
He really did. I had an opportunity to have lunch with him some years ago and pick his brain a little bit. And while we were eating, he kept getting calls on his phone, and I forget which college it was in Wisconsin, but they had a job opening, and the college was calling him for advice.
Wow, that's fantastic. There's a story in today's Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel by Dave Kalaman. If you haven't seen it, check it out. A great quote here by Coach Greg Gard, the Wisconsin Badgers, of course, who grew up in Cobb, not too far away, Iowa County, next door to Grant County. And this is the quote from Coach Gard. He says that, quote, "I'll get text from him late at night, or I'll see something that he tweeted about basketball," Gard said. And I'm like, Coach, were you really watching an instructional video at 1 a.m. that you had to text me a question about? But that seems to be the kind of guy that he was. Always thinking, always coaching.
It sounds about right. The thing I will say, though, is it was all about discipline, and I'm not sure a coach starting out today could do some of the same things in terms of, he told me, no loud music in the locker room before the game.
Really?
You know, that's
really?
Yeah. And then another thing, he said, one of his best players ever, and this was back many years ago, but he said, you need a haircut, and the kid said, you know, I'm not going to get one. And he said, he didn't play for me, you know.
Wow,
so I'm not sure if you can get away with those kind of things now, you know.
No,
but,
probably not.
But when you have a program that's proven and winning and people want to be a part of it, they will conform to just be a part of it, right?
Exactly right. No, I think everybody wants to be a winner. It feels good when you win. You learn life lessons along the way, even when you don't. But I think you're exactly right. I'm not sure it was just, I guess some of it was old-fashioned discipline. But to your point, I think he was just a very respected individual because he achieved success.
Right, exactly. The number of times I called games in the old Cuba City gym and the Jerry Pettigrew Court, and again, it wasn't a station, or we weren't their station, their hometown station, but we were there several times a year. But I really can count on one hand the number of times one of the teams I was covering won, because when you did, it was like winning the state championship.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. And part of the reason that I wanted to lead off with this, because I do think it's a state story, because I don't care if you're not from Southwest Wisconsin, if you played basketball, or if you had a kid in basketball, or if you ever went to a state tournament, all around Wisconsin, you say the name Jerry Pettigrew, and anybody involved in high school sports pretty much knows who this person was.
You're right, exactly. His camps, but plus he was on the WIA statewide television network for many years. If his team wasn't playing, he was one of the color commentating coaches. Wow.
Just absolutely, really, really incredible. Anything I haven't asked you yet, Phil, or would you like to add about Coach Pettigrew or his passing?
I don't think so. Again, it's just it's a huge loss for basketball, and he was the man who led the WBCA, Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association, for years, and emceed their banquet and gave away a lot of things. And he gave me a Media Person of the Year award in 2018 or 19. And you know, I mean, you get a call from Coach Pettigrew and saying you won an award. I mean, that's like a career thing for me, really.
Right. No, it really is. Well deserved, I might add. But, well, Phil, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day after you put in a full day already to come and chat with us, because as someone who I know worked around him and with him, so to speak, for a number of years, you really knew the guy. And thanks for sharing this. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to our audience as well.
No problem. I'll be on anytime. Next time we'll talk about music or whatever it was. I like that Jimi Hendrix intro, by the way. That was good.
Zommers is always on it. And what's the profile this week? Or those are the days on Saturday night?
This week, hold on a second.
All right, he's getting his notes. I should have cleared this.
We are doing groups named after cities, states, and continents.
Really?
So we have Boston, Berlin, Chicago, America, Kansas, Miami Sound Machine, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Nazareth, New York Dolls, Asia, Bay City Rollers, Black Oak, Arkansas, Europe, New York City, Ozark Mountain Daredevils, Ohio Players, L.A. Guns, Orleans, Toronto.
Very good. Well, that's great. We'll be listening. If we can't listen over the air, people can listen on the Civic Media app on WRCO. Thank you, Phil. Really appreciate it, my friend.
You bet. We'll talk soon.
Talk to you later. Phil D, everybody. Glad to have him here. And don't forget, we're in the smack dab middle of our text to win contest here. Up for grabs this hour, a pair of Milwaukee Brewer tickets. Text the word FIRE, F-I-R-E, right now to the Civic Media app. FIRE, F-I-R-E. on the Civic Media app, giving away those Brewer tickets, 2 of them this hour, as well as eligible for 2 fantastic Wisconsin vacation getaways. Going to give it away at the end of this week. Stay tuned. Coming up next, State Senator Kelda Royce. What's happening up the street of the Capitol? It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison's real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX. This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
You Make the Difference. That's the title of a national initiative launched by the International Association of Fairs and Expositions, having an impact on county fairs near you. I'm PM Yankee with a quick update on what's happening in food and farming news on a Monday. That's right, the International Association of Fairs and Expositions working to try to help uncover the value that county fairs bring to their community. Jamie Butke, Executive Secretary of the Wisconsin Fairs Association, says so far it's been well received in Wisconsin.
All 74 fairs of ours completed the information needed for the survey, and we turned around and offered a grant option for all of our fairs. We gave them a $1,000 grant. And they all submitted that so that they have the option to contact IFE, and if they want to purchase an economic impact study just on their fair, they could do that for $1,500, and we're covering the majority of the costs if they want to. And if not, then use it to update something else on your fairgrounds that can help you show what the economic impact is.
Jamie Butke, Executive Secretary of the Wisconsin Fairs Association. Some of the takeaways from this You Make the Difference national initiative should help county fairs when it comes to finding that next volunteer
Richland
or
Center
that
to
next fundraising
dance
effort.
recital up
They'll
there, so that
all
was
come
fun.
back together January of 2026
Then
and
went to
share their
Milwaukee
results.
for the Brewers game, which was fun, although they lost 1-0.
And nothing catches the eye like the 7 bushel per acre yield advantage of
but you
Veltimo
never know.
fungicide over other fungicides. But don't
We'll
just
talk
take our
obviously
word
about
for it. See it for
JFC,
yourself. Run a comparison
breakdown
of
in
Veltimo
communication.
fungicide. Enter the real results
what's
yield
next?
challenge and experience the difference it
would you
makes
buy
in
it?
your
And then
fields.
after,
and when you
I-
share your
I
experience
thought
with us, you'll get a chance
after
to
we
win a
did the general
2-year lease
stuff,
on a new
not
truck. Sign
this
up at
bill,
yieldchallenge.basf.us.
state income tax
No purchase
deduction,
necessary. See
deduction
official
for
rules for
educators
details.
in
Always
classroom,
read and follow labor
which to me it's like, well, this
When
sure.
hot weather
I mean,
strikes your
that's
cattle,
great,
milk
but wouldn't
production
it be
drops
better
and feed
to actually
intakes
fully
decrease.
fund our public
Summer
schools
heat also
so
impacts
that
the
maybe
quality of your
teachers
food
wouldn't have to
reproduction.
spend
Protect
their
your cows
own
and
money
grow your
when it
bottom
comes
line.
to classrooms?
Add BioVet's bovine gold light to your cow's daily ration. Bovine gold light keeps the herd hydrated, maintains milk production, and keeps your breeding program in check.
I know.
Learn more about
But
bovine
I
gold light
think this
at
is like, but they put stuff out like that, and then people who aren't keeping track are like, well, I don't know. They offer to give teachers a $300
And young
tax
farmers
credit. They're not
in
giving me a
Wisconsin
$300 tax
face
credit for
unique
my job.
challenges, and they wanted to share their
So
story.
I think it's just good
Last
to call
week,
it out and say, look, this
24
is
of our
great,
Wisconsin
but
young
wouldn't it be
farmers
better if
under
we just
the
fully
age
fund our
of
public
35 took time
So-
away from their farming
and then,
operation to share their stories.
if we have
The
time,
Wisconsin
would you
Farm Bureau's
be
Young
open
Farmer and
to
Agriculturalist event had them
polite
speaking
discussion
to
on,
legislative leaders as
I don't
well
like
as
to go too far
USDA
down the
staff.
national
While there, they also made a trip to the Mexican embassy to talk about trade dynamics and Mexican markets. More details on that story and others available now. MidwestFarmReport.com. I'm PM Yankee.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
Mostly cloudy and cool today, with high temperatures reaching the mid-60s and breezy winds out of the west and showers and some storms sparking up this afternoon. Otherwise, tomorrow, a high-pressure system moves in, giving us plenty of sunshine and warmer temperatures in the mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now, it's 62 degrees.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
The soap scientists have found a way to incorporate Sydney Sweeney's actual bath water into the soap. What if she doesn't smell good? I know she's
What if it
beautiful.
smells
What if she
terrible?
stinks? And no one is going to tell her that because she's Sydney Sweeney. Here's an open...
All right, 40 seconds. Can we make sure our headphones work? All right, how are your headphone levels?
Test 1 2, test 1 2. All right.
All right, we got about 30 seconds.
Thank you. 25 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Monday, June 9th, 2025. Glad to have you along here. Don't forget our Text to Win contest is still going on here. Up for grabs this hour, a pair of Milwaukee Brewer tickets to our beautiful club level seats at AM Fam Field. Was just there yesterday. Sadly, I could not get the Brewers a win, although I had nothing to do with it. But it's always a great time. You're sitting there right in the third base line. You can see right into the Brewers' dugout. They're beautiful seats, so don't miss out. You're only competing against people listening this hour. Text the word FIRE, F-I-R-E, FIRE, right now to the Civic Media app. Download it at your Apple or Android device. The first 11 stations are the ones that we're on. Open it up, click text, and then text the word FIRE, F-I-R-E, right now to the Civic Media app to be eligible to win those 2 Milwaukee Brewer tickets free of charge. And everybody will be eligible then to win one of our 2 grand prizes, either a getaway to the Dells Baraboo area or the beautiful Door County area. And everybody is eligible for that. So text in FIRE, F-I-R-E, right now. Right now, our guest, as has been, we're honored to have her here every Monday through the Joint Finance Committee, i.e. the budget process. The senator here from the 26th District in the city of Madison, or parts of the city of Madison, State Senator Kelda Royce joins us. Senator Royce, how are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here again.
Always a pleasure to have you here on a Monday. I feel like, do you ever see the movie Groundhog with Bill Murray?
I feel very much like I've seen that movie and I'm living it.
Right?
Yeah.
She bought the t-shirt. And for those that don't, the movie is premised on Bill Murray's character wakes up in Punxsutawney, where
Punxsutawney.
For the Groundhog Day, and he lives the same day over and over. I feel like every Monday we come on and I say, Senator, they haven't done anything yet.
Well, to be fair, they haven't done anything yet for a long time,
right.
And they may well not do anything this week. I mean, I think we're going to be in on a few small agencies, but the reality is the Republicans are not making any progress on getting our budget done.
And for those who might not follow this day to day, like nerds like I do, we're in the middle of our biennial, meaning every other year state budget process. Last check, we're at over a $4 billion surplus in this state. Senator Royce is one of 4 Democrats that sits on the committee. Republicans clearly control this. What we heard last week was a lot of talk from both the governor's office and the Republicans on the Joint Finance Committee, as well as Speaker Voss, amongst others. He was on WISN television up front over the weekend, talking a lot, and they're kind of both blaming each other for this so-called breakdown between negotiations and talks between the two. And now Speaker Voss is signaling the Republicans might just push forward essentially with their own bill. Have you got that about right?
I think that's about right. It's troubling to me when, in previous years, we haven't had too many negotiations. I think the first 2 budgets under the current governor, there really were no negotiations. And now it seemed like there had been some productive movement over the last couple of months. The governor said, basically, I agreed to your tax cuts, your top priorities. And the Republicans wouldn't agree to the Democratic priorities, namely funding our schools, funding childcare, and funding higher ed.
Right before we went on the air, there's a story in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel today by Anna Kleiber. By the way, congrats. I think she got her first front page story this weekend. So that's pretty cool for a journalist, for a reporter. The headline says, Wisconsin bill would give state income tax deduction to educators for classroom expenses. And to summarize this, because most of my family have either been or still currently educators in the public school systems in Wisconsin. And because funds are low in many districts across the state, because the state doesn't really properly fund public education, we have teachers who are spending their own money to buy classroom supplies. So this Republican-sponsored bill by Representative David Armstrong of Rice Lake says, well, he wants to give a $300 tax credit, essentially, to educators who spend their own money in the classroom. On the face of it, Senator Royce, you think, well, this is great. You're helping out educators. But then I have to ask the question, with $4 billion plus surplus, why aren't we just funding public schools correctly?
I think you hit it right on the head there, Todd, because the idea that teachers should have to buy school supplies for their students or supplement the classroom because, we're not actually funding them as a state it's emblematic of the kind of failure of government that we've seen over the last 15 years from the Republican majority here. time and time again, no matter where you go in the state, and I travel all over the state. I knock on doors. I do radio shows like this. I do listening sessions. The number one issue I hear about is we want our kids to have great schools. We want better public education opportunities for our kids. And Republicans hear that too, and yet they will not fund it. Our kids have not gotten an inflationary increase in 15 years.
Why is it, and I'm not, maybe this is a rhetorical question. I don't know. I'm not expecting you to read other people's minds, but I guess I'll put it this way. I'm just kind of, I'm literally at a loss for words when we just had our friend and colleague from Richland Center, Phil Neon, who covered Coach Jerry Pettigrew for years at Cuba City, the legendary winningest coach in Wisconsin basketball history, who just passed away over the weekend at 84, I believe. There are a few places you can go around the state. Anybody who has had a kid in basketball or ever, and say Coach Pettigrew, and they not know who it is. Everybody in sports or high school sports knows who it is. My point is, so many of us around this state love to go to the high school football or basketball or whatever game or the forensics meet or the band concert. And our own person, it's like, well, yeah, I want my school funded. But yet, why is it that Republicans are successful in their narrative to divide the state when it comes to other people's school districts?
But they're not even funding their own school districts. It is rural districts in Republican areas that in many ways suffer the most under these policies. And even the, quote unquote, wealthier suburban schools that people think of, these are the super high test scores. They've got beautiful buildings because those communities keep passing referendums to fund their schools. Even they are saying, we can't do this anymore. This isn't working. And the underfunding of schools isn't working for any kid in any district. And I think our kids are worth it. I think they are worth investing in and spending money on. And I don't understand the Republican politicians who ignore their own voters and say, nope, our kids are not worth it. Instead, we need more tax breaks for the wealthiest that have already gotten their public education and they're doing fine.
So what is it, in your opinion, as someone who's in the building, as we say, do you think the biggest breakdown is over K-12 funding that the governor wants and the Republicans on joint finance are just saying no? Is that really the biggest thing?
I don't know if the issue is K-12 or if they just said childcare, forget it, we're not doing anything for early childhood, or if it's UW. But, the reality is that our governor agreed to the Republican tax proposal, and Republicans wouldn't agree to fund our kids. And, we didn't even have a discussion about healthcare, right? About what we're going to do if hundreds of millions of dollars are cut from Medicaid, which would be a huge blow to our workforce, about the $2 billion that we're going to lose if we don't expand Badger Care to save it this year, right? I think it's time to, if the Republicans are just going to walk away after months of negotiations, it's time to expand the playing field. Let's get bold and let's talk to constituents. Let's take it directly to them and say, listen, here's what we heard from you, and here's what the Republicans want to do. None of it.
We're talking to State Senator Kelda Royce from the 26th District here in Dane County, mostly the city of Madison, and she is a member of the Joint Committee on Finance, the Budget Writing Committee here in the state legislature. Senator Royce, I again, as we look at this process, because we had something called a national election in between the last budget, so my mind is a little foggy. You were there, so help me remember a little bit here. As I recall, there were a few people in the Democratic Party or Democratic voters who were not necessarily happy with Governor Evers last time around because he signed a bill that included some things they didn't like. In my view, he made some concessions to Republicans to get a bill passed and say, look, this isn't perfect, but I'll sign it. Now, he might have also gotten a little cute by half with his veto pen, which ticked off some Republican folks. But I guess what my point is, as I recall, last time around, Governor Evers wasn't a zero-sum on this and saying it's 100% my way or no way. He was willing to negotiate.
Well, yeah, and I think he's always been willing to negotiate. The problem is the Republicans just keep calling his bluff, passing these horrible budgets that do not provide what our kids need and deserve, and they just bank on the governor being willing to sign it because he'd rather have a budget, even if it's a bad one, than no budget at all. And, I think the question is can we really afford that? Can our kids afford that? And especially the childcare industry, which the funds are running out on June 30th. We could see massive closures all across the state. Childcare Counts, that program stopped the closures of childcare that we had been experiencing over the last several decades. And that program, those funds are going to run out, and there's nothing on the horizon here.
I think that's a really good point to bring up because, again, people I talk to around the state, we take the show on the road. Other people, it's like, Todd, we're tuning this out. We can't dial in all the time. We get depressed. I get that, believe me. But I think you raising this again, because I think people are like, well, it's just politicians. My child care is always going to be there. It's not alarmist, is it, to say, no, it's not actually.
It's absolutely not. I mean, talk to your child care providers.
Right.
And by the way, is your child care affordable? Do you feel like it's a reasonable amount of money? You're paying more for your kid to go to child care than to go to college. You're paying more for child care than you do for your mortgage or your rent. I think anybody with a kid in child care knows that it's a massive amount of money, and it's absolutely necessary for your family's economic stability, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we lose that, parents are going to drop out of the workforce, and we are going to feel it economically everywhere in our state, in every community.
And again, just to remind folks and keep me honest here, part of the urgency of what you just said is because these federal dollars that were implemented during COVID, the pandemic, have run out. They're not going to be, can't rely on that anymore. And so the choice is either A, the state has to step up and fill that gap, or B, nothing's going to happen, as you said, and we are literally going to, I know the term is overused these days, but we really are, in my view, going to have child care facilities close.
Right. That's right. And that's because it is too expensive to provide the kind of intensive care that you need. You can't have one adult and 30 toddlers in a classroom. Right. And it is high skill work. A lot of people in early childhood, they have an associate's degree. They have extensive training. They have a bachelor's degree. Many have master's degrees. And yet they are making poverty wages, right? The average wage is about $13 an hour. And why? Because that's all that child care centers can afford to pay. It's all that parents can afford to pay. And already it's out of reach for many families, or they're struggling and scraping and, not doing other things so that they can afford for their kids to be in child care.
And again, for people not like you or I who follow this stuff all the time, who say, well, I guess, is the government going to shut down? No, but in the state of Wisconsin, if there is no budget, if the Republicans pass something out of joint finance and the governor either vetoes it or whatever, we just keep state government keeps working, but at the previous budget, correct?
Right, exactly. We go back to 2023 levels. And obviously, we all know the cost of living has gone way up since 2023. We had an election about it. And in fact, instead of actually addressing inflation, we've got a Republican regime in Washington that's actually making that problem worse, right? So the costs are going to continue to go up, and yet our state government's not going to be able to meet those costs.
And those monies from the last budget do not cover, again, the child care. So just doing nothing also doesn't help. Those child care facilities shut down.
Right.
So I know you don't have a crystal ball, but about a minute here before the first break, do you have a sense there's any hope of any way to get the two sides together, or is this just going to be the Republican budget and the governor has to decide whether to line item veto or veto the whole thing?
Well, my hope is the apparent dysfunction in the Senate Republican caucus. I sort of think that they don't have a path to 17 in that caucus. That's how much they need to pass a budget. And in that case, maybe they will come to the Democrats, and we're here. We're ready. Open arms.
Speaking of the Democrats, they have something called a state convention this weekend. Maybe we'll talk a little politics on the other side with Senator Royce as well. Don't go anywhere. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
As a fish fry on a Friday night. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hey, look, I got $955.06 via PayPal with Bitcoin. Oh, it's a scam.
I just got the same text.
Really? Wait, did I get any money?
Aww, if only it were real. If only it were real.
Yeah.
Hook you up with $100 cash, Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets, and the chance to win a.
I had another one that I can't read because I already deleted and blocked it. But about my offer for a loan, I don't know what.
Wow.
And 2 and 4 p.m. hours.
I feel like I should tell you that you don't have to always play Taylor Swift. You can play whatever you want.
Right.
Like all kinds of music.
Give us another handful of things. What else is on your Spotify?
I love Steely Dan. I love any kind of jazz.
Oh, jazz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you heard of? So here's something. Speaking of Bitcoin, I've seen this at Quick Trip. My sister came through Sparta this weekend, and she said she stopped at, I think it was the Quick Trip at Sparta. So they have the ATM machines, and now they have these Bitcoin
Oh,
things.
yeah. I actually
And
have a
people
bill in
are lined
drafting
up.
to register, to basically force them to register with the DFI to regulate how much it's total scam, right? This is all
Can we talk
about,
about this?
Yes, this is
All
about
right,
parting
all right.
old people from their money.
Yes. My sister said they were literally lined up like 12 deep.
Oof, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that.
Great.
Including making cuts to
A
Medicaid.
big government
But Johnson's
regulation
position as a critic of this bill
to
makes
protect
him
you from
especially
yourself,
influential
which I hate doing.
But let's
People should
not
be free to
forget
make
the
bad
last time he was
decisions.
in
but-
a similar position. In 2017, he was a critic of the Trump tax cut
well
bill.
put.
But what he
You know,
fought for was a
yeah.
tax break for certain types of businesses. Perhaps
I'm in the
not
Freedom Caucus.
coincidentally, businesses owned by
I mean, I really am.
Dick and Liz Uline
I really am, but
received more than 200
but you shouldn't be able to sell a defective
tax
product.
breaks because of this bill.
Yeah.
So as the Big Beautiful
Pardon
bill
me.
is
Oh,
negotiated
sorry.
in the Senate,
Yeah.
I thought the allergies were coming to an
Oh,
end.
I know.
but-
But the cottonwood is just
I know.
crazy. The pollen. Like every day, my car is like yellow again. Yeah.
Our state with close to 1.5 million cows. Those beautiful animals. Okay, I grew up on a dairy farm outside of Green Bay.
Hope the cows are still going to be able to get vaccinated. Jeez, we're all going to die.
Live for today. That's messy.
That's our model. That's hopeful.
Wisconsin's first avocado plant. 1894 in the Waupun area of Fond du Lac County. Fast forward more than 120 years, now farmer-owned with a second location in
About
the
30
Allegheny
seconds.
County
Thank
village of
you.
Black Creek. The Saputo plant is even featured on History Channel's Modern Marvels for its award-winning cheese making. So did you guess? Most of her cow's milk, 90% of it currently
I like
makes
angry feminist
cheese.
music too,
Food up
like from the
for
90s, like Indigo Girls, Ani DeFranco,
All right,
Tori
good to
Amos.
know.
I like it all.
I know I'd go from rags to riches.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 8 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock. Coming up for hour 2. A little what's worse for you today. Forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary. Here joining us at the table right now, though, State Senator Keller Royce, Democrat from the 26th District here in Dane County, who sits on the Joint Finance Committee. Senator, any thoughts on that? What's worse, birthday or anniversary?
Boy, I think probably anniversary, but honestly, there's really not an excuse for missing it these days, right? We all
I
carry
know,
around
right?
these little tracking devices in our pockets.
Usually I don't say it till late. We were discussing this in the morning meeting, and I said, I don't know, it's not even close for me. It's birthday. And
Yeah.
Luke Mathers says, so says the single man.
I'd like to take this opportunity to say happy anniversary to my spouse. This week is our wedding anniversary.
Really, this week?
Yeah.
Well, timely indeed.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's get into something because we'll see what happens this week with the Joint Finance Committee. Hopefully they get off their keister and actually try to do something. And you're coming back next Monday and talk more about that.
I'm here, man. I'm ready to work.
I know you are. I love it. I love that about you. We were talking. We weren't going to talk about this initially, but we were talking over the break, and you said, "Sure, let's do it." Because you have something in the works to address this. My sister is driving down from Eau Claire this week. We met in Richland Center, and she says, I'm at the Quick Trip in Sparta, and there is a 12-deep line at the ATM and this Bitcoin machine. And I said, this is crazy. I've seen this a little bit. Explain what this is and what you're doing to address it.
So functionally, this is a way to get ordinary people to put their money into crypto so that it can be stolen by fraudsters and scammers.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of the Wild West, right? There has been minimal regulation in Wisconsin. States are starting to take action, but it's kind of like whack-a-mole. I'm hearing from law enforcement about people who are losing their savings, and before they even realize they've been scammed, the money has been transferred to a third party, anonymous crypto wallet somewhere in another country.
It's just tremendously sad to me
Mm.
because, and again, nobody's breaking law, I don't believe. to have these machines there, but to have them right next to an ATM, so someone takes out their hard-earned cash or retired folks on a fixed income, and then they feed it into a crypto buying Bitcoin machine, whatever it is,
Right.
and they've heard on some program, this is how you're going to get rich, and then it's gone.
Right. Well, and the purpose of crypto is that it's totally anonymous, it's untraceable. And so if you're a criminal and you previously had to scam people out of their money by getting access to their bank account or their credit card, there are mechanisms in place because these are regulated money transfers, right? They're regulated at the federal and the state level because we don't want people laundering money. We don't want criminals to crime. And crypto, these ATMs really facilitate these kind of financial scams. And, fortunately, the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institution has just put out some very good recommendations and regulations actually to try to get these under control, requiring registration, posting a warning that says, hey, man, this could be a scam. If somebody you don't know is trying to get your money, it is almost certainly a scam. But we need state laws on the books. And I've got a bill in drafting that I'm working on to limit the amount of money and put in a holding period so that you can transfer money, but not more than $1,000 a day. So you're not going to lose your whole retirement savings.
I don't have $1,000.
Right. I mean, for some people that could be their whole savings, right? Yeah. And then to say there's got to be a holding period. So like if you have a big check that you're depositing, the bank will put a hold on it to make sure that the funds are actually there, right? That the check is real. And we should be able to do the same thing with crypto. So that you get home, you have a conversation with your, adult daughter, and your daughter says, "Oh God, Dad, I think that was a scam." And you say, "Oh gosh," and then you can call law enforcement. They've got time to get that money back before it's spirited away to some criminal's crypto wallet.
And I don't know for sure, but I used to manage a business that had an ATM machine, and usually the business gets a percentage of the transaction. That's how they make money, these things. I got to believe it's somewhat similar with these crypto Bitcoin machines.
Absolutely. It's like a race to get these things in here because it's a essentially painless way to get a little bit of money in the door.
It's tremendously sad to me, and I feel the same way about it that I do with any gambling or Vegas or slot machine, whatever it is. Don't ever put money in there that you can't afford to lose. Whatever your play money is for the week, $20 or it's $200 or I guess maybe some people have $1,000, but don't if you can't afford to lose it, don't put it in there. That's me.
I mean, I think that's a really good practice, but at least with gambling, you're getting the excitement or the thrill of the actual game. And with crypto, what you're getting in many cases is you're just facilitating crime, right? It's money laundering. It's, buying things that it's not legal to buy. And in most cases, it's essentially civilians getting scammed.
It really, and I know there's a lot of, conservative or right-leaning media who pushes this stuff, but honestly, it's on the left too. And I mean, I've heard it advertised. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zombers, but Hartman has an advertisement, right, for crypto or something like that.
Does.
Oh, crypto! I mean, they'll advertise anywhere, right? It's like cigarettes, right? They don't care who takes their product.
I think that people. I think not a direct analogy, but I think people. Everybody wants to think they can make money easier than working harder. And so you hear these advertisements or whatever, and there's always going to be one or two gals or guys that make it big, right? And then they think, if I put my money in there, I'm going to make all this money. And it ain't happening.
It is functionally, in many ways, a pyramid scheme, right? I mean, that relies on people getting naive new people in to pump up the price so that you can sell. And and that's kind of the best case scenario, right? The worst case scenario is you've just basically have fallen victim to a scam and sent your money to somebody in another country.
I'm so thankful to hear that you're on top of this. I didn't know that till our conversation today. I appreciate that because I think this is based on my own family member seeing this happen. I mean, people are putting a lot of money into this right now across Wisconsin, and it needs to be regulated, and people need to be warned.
Absolutely. I mean, we have so many ways to transfer money in this modern era, thank goodness, but they're all regulated, and crypto should not be exempt.
Agreed. One person you can always take to the bank, that is State Senator Kelda Royce. She is here on Mondays, Joint Finance Committee. Thank you, Senator. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Todd.
We'll see you next Monday. Stay tuned next. What's worse than some political headlines? Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Monday across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network. Text the word FIRE, F-I-R-E, right now.
This This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A civic media station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Ahead of a roundtable at the White House, President Trump commented on the escalating protests in Los Angeles over the weekend over federal immigration arrests. The president crediting National Guard members he deployed for quelling the violence.
Wonderful National Guard. They've really helped in a lot of problems that we're having out there.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom says the president overstepped his authority by mobilizing National Guard troops and created a worse situation. The state now suing the Trump administration. More protests, meantime, over the ICE arrests taking place in L.A. today. Russia launching a record number of aerial drone and missile strikes across Ukraine overnight, including the capital. That caused Polish and Allied planes to scramble briefly over Poland's airspace. And word today, funk legend Sly Stone has died. Best known as the frontman for Sly and the Family Stone with hits like Dance to the Music. His family says he battled COPD and other health issues. Sly Stone was 82. This is ABC News.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Wisconsin advocates are reacting to the arrests and military action in California. Immigration raids began in the LA area, and as protests popped up, President Donald Trump mobilized the National Guard to the objection of the California governor and the mayor of LA. Authorities have shot rubber bullets and tear gas at protesters. Daryl Morin is the national head of Forward Latino based here in Wisconsin. He said officials, quote, unjustly arresting, detaining, and deporting individuals who are lawfully present, as well as those with no criminal record, have profoundly eroded public trust, end quote. Meanwhile, Voces de la Frontera operates a 24/7 hotline to help confirm when immigration authorities are in a specific area and debunk online rumors. They've actually changed it to a 1-800 number recently so they can handle more calls. That number is 1-800-427-0213. And starting today, a local health system is adding new resources for people with substance use disorders. Meritor is now offering walk-in clinics twice a week. According to reporting from WMTV, the goal is to provide support and care to anybody who needs it. They just have to walk in, and they'll have access to assessments, mental health professionals, and anti-craving medications. The clinic is open Mondays from 12:30 to 3 p.m. and Tuesdays from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's on Madison's West Side on Gammon Road. And now it's time for our weekly check of prices at the pump. Here's Melissa Kay.
Gas prices fell slightly over the last week, dropping 1.7 cents to land at $2.95 today. This is 3 cents higher than a month ago and over 27 cents per gallon lower than this time last year. Officials at Gas Buddy say refineries have ramped up output and gasoline supplies surged. There is an overall gentle downward trend across the country as summer progresses.
That's Melissa Kay reporting. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
The Packers release Jair. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports. NFL, the Green Bay Packers have decided to part ways with Jair Alexander. ESPN reporting the 28-year-old defensive back was prepared to report to the team's minicamp tomorrow. Jair Alexander has missed over half the games the past 2 seasons due to injury. Baseball tonight. The Brewers opening a 3-game series at home against the Atlanta Braves.
All right. Recording whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about we don't have anybody scheduled for tomorrow, right?
I'll double check, but I don't think so. No, we do. Brian Van Hooker at 3:30.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I don't know what it's about.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody. Join us next time as we continue to take a look at the changing headlines across the station.
It's not wrong.
No, it's not wrong. 3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody. Join us next time as we take a look at the fast-paced headlines across the nation and state. And a lighter note, Brian Van Hooker from Cracked.com will be here. Join us.
And showers and some storms sparking up this afternoon. Otherwise, tomorrow, a high-pressure system moves in, giving us plenty of sunshine and warmer temperatures in the mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now, it's 62 degrees.
The 4th of July is right around the corner, and Freedom Fireworks has everything your family needs for a safe and exciting holiday celebration. With 20 southeastern Wisconsin locations fully stocked up with everything from sparklers to artillery shells, thunder snaps to 500-gram aerials, Freedom Fireworks guarantees to bring smiles and cheers to every backyard celebration. For fireworks from all the top brands and specials that can't be beat, go to freedomfireworkswi.com for a location near you. Freedom Fireworks wishes you a safe and happy 4th of July.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
We need a fun listener name, something the followers of the show can call themselves. I thought, how about couch potatoes?
Potatoes.
I said it as a joke, and Todd cracked up. He goes, I love that. Whatever it is, folks, embrace your inner couch potato. We are not meant to work in the farms and hunt food. We were 1,000 years ago. But now, I think God wants us to sit back and be entertained.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Whether or not it
Pete
sticks,
Schwaba.
I am a
The
couch
next
potato.
Nightlight, I welcome from the show Young Sheldon, actor Lance Barber. And we'll talk about the amazing career and life
Right.
of Michael J.
10
Fox.
seconds.
All right, thank you.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zomers, our producer and engineer. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2 of the big program on this Monday, June 9th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite from our world headquarters here in downtown Madison, Wisconsin of Civic Media. Some clouds in the sky, Zomers. A little cool. As Elmer Childress used to say, cool. A little cool right now.
Which I appreciate.
I know you're very happy about that. Although they say maybe midweek, a warm up, and then some rain towards the end of the week. So I guess just kind of typical early summertime weather. That's the way it goes. Had a nice weekend this week, as I said in the first hour. By the way, thank you to Senator Kelda Royce for being here. She'll be back next Monday for a Joint Finance Committee update and otherwise. And wasn't that fantastic about her bill on addressing crypto in this state?
Yes, it's good that somebody is doing something about it
Right.
because it's, technology moves so quickly and our government is designed to move so slowly. So I'm glad to see that there are people who are taking initiative to try and catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. Great weekend. As I said, our friend Betty Hayes Baxter, she's not shy about it. She turned 95 this last year, and she had her 78th dance recital to extend her world record holding streak as the longest professional dance teacher in the world.
The finish line moves forward another year.
It certainly does. So that was fantastic. And Holly Miller, who bought kind of part of Betty's studio, has her own recital. It was fantastic. And again, as I sat there and watched it, and my sister did not dance this year, although now it sounds like there's going to be another alumni class next year, so we may get roped into that. But anyway, I was sitting there watching this, and the professionalism and the lighting folks, the sound people, the quality of this program, and all the kids, well over 100 young people, not just little kids all the way through high school. And I thought, isn't this fantastic here in a rural community in southwest Wisconsin, bringing the arts and a wonderful true dance and inspiring people. And just like Brady Ewing, our friend from Richland Center, who ended up playing at Wisconsin and then in the NFL, there have been a number of people from all over Wisconsin, rural parts of Wisconsin, that go on to have professional careers in the arts and music and entertainment. And it all begins with programs in our own local communities. So many thanks to Betty Hayes and her daughter Cheryl, and also Holly Miller for the great work. And then I went down to Milwaukee on Sunday and watched the Brewers cough one up. Freddie Peralta pitched really well. Then they brought in this other guy I never heard of for an inning, and he gave up the only home run. Not great.
Similar thing happened at a game I was at recently, like a month ago, and the pitching on both teams was pretty iffy. And we were joking, oh, they got an ERA of 12. And then they bring out one of our relief pitchers actually did have an ERA of 12 point something.
It's gone.
We're like, that's not good.
But it's always a great time when you go to these Brewer games, and it can be listening every day through this rest of this week. We'll continue to give you chances in our summertime text to win contest all day long between 7 and then into 6 o'clock hour. So Maggie Dawn will have the next word of the hour coming up on her show immediately following ours. And then at the end of the week, we'll find out whether we beat Tom Hartman or not. We're seeing what happens there. Coming up here in just a little while, I want to delve into some of the national headlines a little bit and how I feel that it relates to the state of Wisconsin. Zommers, you're much too young. But there's a great movie called Wag the Dog, starring Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro. I have it, guess what, on DVD right here in my hot little hands. Going to talk a little bit later why the events in Los Angeles, California this week eerily similar in some ways to the movie Wag the Dog.
I do actually know about that movie.
Really? All right.
Because
fantastic.
you've talked about it before.
Well, because I've talked about it. So we'll talk about that coming up in this hour and also some other headlines as well. But right now, it is 11 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
Yes, all right. Yes, all right. But of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. No prize money involved, nothing to give away, but it is your chance to have your voice and opinion heard all across the state of Wisconsin. No better place to have your business advertised than right here on the Civic Media Radio Network. All 11 stations, the largest independent, privately owned radio network in Wisconsin, behind only the great Wisconsin Public Radio Network. But that's publicly owned. So anyway, find out how you can advertise by going to civicmedia.us. Civicmedia.us. All right. We're in that time of year where a lot of graduations are happening. But June, of course, a lot of people get married in June. My parents got married in June. That didn't work out so hot.
Mine got married in June. So far,
it did work out. All right. But you have a lot of weddings in June. And so today's category, here we go. What's worse, forgetting birthdays or forgetting an anniversary? Forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. You can also text us on the Civic Media app. As we said before, download it on your favorite Apple or Android device. Go to the search bar in your app store. Type in Civic, C-I-V-I-C Media. Takes less than a minute. It's free. It's what Gayle King at CBS calls a deal. Speaking of Gayle King, I watched last night the Tony Awards. I bet you did not watch the Tony Awards.
I did not.
It's actually when you come out and you receive your gay card in the mail, part of the requirement of maintaining the gay card is you have to watch the Tonys.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought so.
So I'm under contractual obligation. So I watched the Tonys last night, and it was a pretty good. Cynthia Olivo was the host. I mean, she's enormously talented, and she did a great job. For my money, you can't beat Neil Patrick Harris. But it was Gayle King was there in the front row with her best buddy Oprah Winfrey, who presented the Musical of the Year award. So it was a good show. Anyway, so Gayle was there last night in all of her glory. Hard to beat that. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Tony, watching on YouTube, says, depends on who. But if it's your anniversary, that is far worse because you're half of it. So you have no excuse to forget. Well said. Well said, Tony Zimmerman. Jack in Merrimack, listening via WAUK, says, definitely missing an anniversary is worse. It celebrates the date that you made a commitment to another person, though missing either really isn't that good. Kurt, listening on Madison's WMDX, says, birthdays are singular. Weddings are not. So birthday. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Greg in beautiful Genesee Depot says missing an anniversary would be marriage suicide. Really? Wow.
For some people take
For
that
some,
real seriously.
I know. Yeah. Robert in McFarland says, if you're married, this one is a draw. Megan in Sun Prairie says, I'd be more concerned than angry if my husband forgot our anniversary. After a few COVID reschedulings, we got married on his birthday. Really?
That would be very concerning. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Megan, that was actually very, very smart because hard for him to forget. Now, the question is, and I know I'm taking your husband's side on this, but does he get from you both an anniversary and a birthday gift, or is it like people that are born like on the 24th or 25th of December and everything gets lumped together? Right? I'd be curious to know.
I feel like if I were in that situation, if I am on the giving end, I got married to somebody and our anniversary is on that person's birthday. I feel like I would get them a birthday gift and then I would do something with them for the anniversary.
Oh, okay.
That would be my plan of action. You'd have a gift and then you'd have a date.
Not getting 2 gifts. What's worse, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. You could text us on the Civic Media app. Len in Madison says, what's worse is forgetting that those are the choices again. Well, that would be very concerning. Tony on YouTube says, is half the day about him and the other half is about the anniversary party? Well, that's a great question as well, Tony. Speaking of Megan's situation that has anniversary on her spouse's birthday. Yeah. Melissa listening in on beautiful Willie Street in Madison. Great neighborhood, iconic neighborhood in Madison. Melissa says, both of us forgot our 25th week.
They forgot their 25th anniversary this week.
Both of you. Oh, I got it. Forgot their 25th anniversary this week. No one noticed until friends wished us a happy anniversary. Well, all right. So Melissa, that's very, very interesting. I would say either A, you're so blissful and happy that you just every day is like your anniversary is happy, or, and we probably shouldn't go there, it's very disgruntled.
Or you're just both forgetful. I mean, it seems like this was not a bad thing. I feel like if one person forgets, that can be bad. If both people forget, it's like, we did an oopsie.
Right. I feel like it's probably the former, where they're just so happy. It's like, well, we're happy with each other every day. Cam in Appleton says, my partner and I do more on our dog's birthdays than we do on our anniversary. So probably forgetting the dog's birthday. That's really good. Some people make big deals out of their pets' birthdays. Scott in Madison on WMDX. Our anniversary is the day before my birthday. We both consistently forget our anniversary because of this. I also only get a happy anniversary dinner meal. Oh, all right. Not a 2. It's a 2 for 1, basically.
Or a 1 for 2.
Oh, yeah. Melissa back in Willie Street letting us know that I like the bliss idea. Now, see how she worded that? I like the bliss idea. Not know we're completely blissful. So that was the reason. No, I'm just kidding, Melissa. See, you're happy. You're living the good life down there at Willie Street. You're chilling out. You're going to the Willie Street Co-op. You probably walk to get your groceries, walk down to the lake, chill out down there, go to the Crystal Corner for a drink. I don't know.
Oh, I love the Crystal Corner.
I mean, you're living large down there at Willie Street. Let's see here. I guess that's where
Cam in Appleton talking about the dog birthday parties says, dude, we put crowns on them and let them eat steak at a table. You have no idea. We even wrap them presents and let them open them.
What's worse, forgetting your birthday or forgetting your anniversary? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Megan back in Sun Prairie says, we don't do gifts for birthdays, but I make sure to cook dinner and plan something fun to celebrate both occasions. We were going to originally get married close to my birthday, ironically. Heather checking in beautiful Claire, home of WCFW on Facebook. I feel worse when I forget a friend's birthday than a couple's anniversary. I'm 100% in agreement with that. And I forgot two birthdays. My friend Carrie Anderson Pink's birthday and Paco Baye's birthday, both on May 25th. And I was doing too much for the show. And now I made it up with Carrie. I got to tell Paco happy anniversary, or happy birthday.
Anniversary of his birthday.
Right. Tony says, my wife and I have a hard time remembering how many years. I think we're coming up on 9. Whoops, Tony, better get that straight. Stay tuned. More after this on Civic Weekend.
Great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Hey, at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing from their mattress. A good night's rest, am I right? It's not rocket science. You don't need a physics genius to make you a futuristic space bed. You just need someone to listen to what you want and who knows the materials that will get you there. And you might even be surprised to learn that someone could be living right next door.
Sly and the Family Stone? Anything, one of their big hits? Sly and the Family Stone?
Any particularly?
I don't know, just whatever you think is. Sly Stone. Dead at 82.
Oh, dang.
When I first invited folks to my farm 40 years ago, I could never have dreamed that would become the area's largest greenhouse. With a focus on quality plants at reasonable prices and a special emphasis on customer service, we have received the People's Choice Award as Madison area's best greenhouse. Located 2 miles east of Oregon in the beautiful town of Dunn, I invite you out to see why we are not only the area's largest greenhouse, but also the best.
I'm hungry. What's cooking?
Oh, no, not me. It's your turn.
Oh, we're back to taking turns?
Yes.
Well, how about Sugar River Pizza?
Oh, yeah, now they can cook.
I could really go for some of that 12-hour smoked pulled pork.
Ooh, and some pasta. Okay, now I'm hungry. Sugar River, here we come.
And they have that great kids menu, too.
We don't have any kids.
Right. That's beside the point. The point is, I'm hungry, you're hungry.
Let's go.
Yes. And we should talk about having some kids.
Get in the car, Bob. Sugar River, Sun Prairie, Verona, New Glarus, and catering.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts.
I sent you the political story as the cut of my least favorite Martin telling David Hogg, you've ruined all my chances.
So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at travelwisconsin.com. Sponsored
30
by
seconds.
Travel
Thank you.
End of the spring, and here she comes back. Hi, 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 hi there. Them summer days, those summer days. That's when I have most of my fun.
Civic Media Radio Network. 23 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Called Sly and the Family Stone. Is that hot fun in the summertime? Hot fun in the summertime. Well done, Mr. Summers there. One of the big hits, some sad news, though, across the CBS wires. Sly Stone, the funk music pioneer and frontman of Sly and the Family Stone, has died at the age of 82, according to his manager. Despite keeping his personal life mostly out of the public eye, Stone became one of the most influential musicians of the late 1960s and 70s, with hits like the one you just heard, Hot Fun in the Summertime, Everyday People, and Dance to the Music. Let's go out with that one at the end of this segment. Dance to the Music. That's a big Betty Hayes number. Dance to the... Fantastic. Back in 2023, the musical legend let fans get a rare look into his world by releasing a memoir titled Thank You. Also the title of one of the great hits. The book, co-written by musical journalist Ben Greenman, details his revolutionary music style and also the addictions which took him out of the spotlight. Born Sylvester Stewart in Denton, Texas, Stone's family moved to Viejo, California when he was young, and music was always a big part of his life. Again, Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone, dead at the age of 82. Whatever you always hear, you always feel badly when you get these notifications across. But musicians, authors, actors, they leave a part of themselves for us. And that's always something that I really appreciate and enjoy.
Oh, absolutely.
Finishing up here on what's worse, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary. You can also text us, just like DJ up in beautiful Wausau, better known as the Saw. Not the Shaw, but the Saw. He says on WXCO, DJ says, today's what's worse sounds like a trap set by Shirley in the Saw. DJ not taking the bait. So see, he's going to remember his anniversary, it sounds like to me. What's worse, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary, Zombers?
I think I'm going to have to go with anniversary just because I feel like, well, if it is your anniversary, I think anniversary is worse to forget because it is, as somebody else said earlier, as a few people have said, it's a day that you made a commitment. It's something you chose. And birthdays also, they happen every year, no matter what. Everyone's got birthdays. And I don't know. I just feel like, to me, it's less big of a deal, especially because as people get older, they are less likely to want to celebrate their birthdays. Some people are like, I don't want to talk about it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, those are, I guess I get it somewhat, but people who get like angry about their birthday.
Oh, that's
it's
come
like
on.
It's like Judas Priest. Come on, just chill out.
Somebody
Enjoy it.
thought of
At
you.
least you're a
accept it.
day. You're alive, right? I don't know. I would say that forgetting a birthday is maybe like of a family member or a close friend. I can't. I keep track of my friend Ryan and Rebecca's anniversary because I was the best man. So I feel an obligation to remember their anniversary. I have it written down. 855-752-4842. A couple more calls. 855-752-4842. Troy out in beautiful Mount Horeb, listening on WMDX. Troy, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary, what's worse?
Where does forgetting my own birthday fit in there?
Have you actually done that before?
It was I had to write down the date. Oh, July 2nd. That's my birthday there. So yeah, I did.
That's funny. That's really funny. I guess I've kind of like thought about it early. Then the closer it got, it's like, oh geez, I guess my birthday's tomorrow, whatever. So that's funny, Troy.
I mean, I thought of it like a week before, but then
Right.
Life happened and I didn't think of it. And
Right.
like I said, that day it was like I had to write down the date. I'm like, oh, look at that. That's familiar for some reason.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Troy. Appreciate it. Have a great day out there at beautiful Mount Horeb. What's worse, forgetting a birthday or forgetting an anniversary? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. I mean, some people also are very salty if someone forgets their birthday. I'm not like that. If someone forgets my birthday, it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, I don't hold it against anyone.
Oh, yeah. The way I look at it is if somebody reaches out on my birthday, cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but I'm not going to be mad if they forgot.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, well, another great edition. We appreciate you playing along. We'll play more on tomorrow's edition of What's Worse. Going to take a break here for news, weather, and sports. By the way, in sports, big news today. Jair Alexander of the Packers formally released today. Haven't had time to talk about that, but I know Jimmy Kuska and Mike Clemens are all over that, going to be talking about it. It sounds like the die was cast from what I've read and seen so far. It sounds like the die was cast over the offseason when essentially Jair said, I want to come back, but I'm not taking a cut. And the Packers said, we want you to come back, but we're not paying you $17 million because you missed a bunch of games the last 2 years. And they never really got past that. So now the Packers officially released Jair Alexander today. I wish him well. Everything Mike Clemens tells us, he's a great player, a great guy. I think he just got bit by the injury bug, unfortunately, at Green Bay. And I get Gutekunst, general manager for the Packers. I get his position. He can't put the organization in a position to have that much money when the guy's just not healthily reliable. So that was the sporting news. I'm sure Jimmy Kuska and Mike Clemens will continue to follow that. Going to come back then. I want to dive in a little bit to these national headlines happening in Los Angeles, giving my perspective, taking your phone calls, and how it may relate to the state of Wisconsin moving forward. Don't go anywhere. It's a Monday edition of the Todd Allbaugh Show on a beautiful June 9th, 2025.
Madison's Real News and Great Conversation, 92.7 WMDX. You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Seeing Fossen Radis, teacher at Menominee Indian School District, is sparking something powerful in her classroom. Curiosity, connection, and a deep respect for tradition. These students are taking the lead, planting the seeds for their Indigenous Medicine Garden project that ties together culture, community, and sustainability. Radis shares more about what it means for the school and community.
Students are 100% behind this. They were the ones who determined which plants we were going to have, which medicines we were going to grow, other sacred plants that are important to cultural reasons. So we're growing such things as cedar, sage,
All
tobacco,
right, so we have 3
bergamot,
cuts.
mullein, mint, echinacea,
We got
chamomile,
the woman being
lavender,
shot.
that's just
We
to
got
name a
the
few.
reporter
So
being
we've
shot
got
with a rubber
quite
bullet. We
plant
got
list
Mayor
going that the
Bass,
kids
and
put
we got
together. So it's
the
basically a student-led
Martin.
design.
Todd's
They
least
did the
favorite Martin.
research. They are going to participate in educating the community and other school members about the garden.
I'll have a look at your closing markets right after this.
Let me have your attention for just a moment. There's a few things that have changed at Zimbrick Chevrolet, Main Street, Sun Prairie. Fabulous Farm Babe Pam Yankee right here, a decade-long client of that location in Sun Prairie. That's where I go for service. That's where I go to secure a new vehicle. And speaking of a new vehicle, man, oh man, have they got the inventory. I just jumped online at Zimbrick Chevrolet and found out they've got more than 200 new rides waiting for you. I was talking with their new general manager, Dakota, too, and what I didn't realize is Zimbrick Chevrolet really cares about helping community members. So Chevrolet's got a military program. They've got a college program for those kids ready to head off to school or already in school. They've got an educator program because they recognize how hardworking teachers are. They've got first responder programs, all designed to make sure that you can get into a new ride affordably. Inventory, very strong right now. Check it out online, ZimbrickChevrolet.com, or stop by Main Street, Sun Prairie.
I'm Charity Seebecker for the Midwest Farm Report with a look at your agribusiness news. This Friday, Kinchley's Dairy Farm will be hosting the Dane County Breakfast on the Farm. They are no stranger to opening their doors to guests far and wide and will feature a menu of cheesy scrambled eggs, pancakes, sausage, yogurt, cheese, ice cream, and much more. Be sure to add that to your calendar and join them as well as the Midwest Farm Report team as we're going to be there from 7 to 11:30. Now let's take a look at our dairy markets. July Class 3 milk contract is trading at $18.84. That's with no change. And August Class 3 milk contract is trading at $19.34 a hundredweight, and that is up a penny. 40-pound block cheese closed at $1.85 3/4. That was down 6 1/4 cents. And the double A butter closed down a quarter today and closed at $2.55 1/2. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Charity Seebecker.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete
Tony has a hot
Civic
take
Media
on
lineup at
Jair Alexander. He could have been here if he
or
had
the
a better
Civic Media
attitude, he
app.
says.
Mostly cloudy and cool today, with high temperatures reaching the mid-60s and breezy winds out of the west and showers and some storms sparking up this afternoon. Otherwise, tomorrow, a high-pressure system moves in, giving us plenty of sunshine and warmer temperatures in the mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now, it's 62 degrees.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Matt Miller, a Milwaukee-based film critic. The film Sinners, the more distance I have from it, the more I liked it. Is that an Oscar film?
I think there is a love for what Sinners is doing, that a studio movie was this interesting and creative and thoughtful, but also entertaining. This is not the last you will hear about Sinners this year. I'd be shocked if it doesn't get a Best Picture nomination.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have
Looks
my
like
diploma.
DJ was having
30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
his wife
If
go
you're
and
even
listen to the part where
considering
we already
getting your
text.
high school
All
diploma,
right, 30
you
seconds.
can do it.
All right.
Accidentally sent it to us. Oopsie.
Sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song.
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on a Monday. Back to school, back to work. Well, maybe some. I think school's almost completely done now. Might be a couple of districts that still have a couple of days this week, but
can't be too many.
No, lots of graduations happening around the state. Good luck to all those graduating seniors. We appreciate all of you. It is Monday, June 9th, 2025. Big week ahead and big weekend behind us. And there were a lot of other things going on, so I didn't start with this at the beginning of the show. But I did want to acknowledge it and try to contextualize this as best I can in a Wisconsin way. Most of us, I think, by this time have heard about what happened in Los Angeles over the weekend, where there were protests, particularly against ICE and the actions there. And some of those protests became violent. People got hurt. Some people got arrested. And it's really just gone, in terms of media and narrative, in my opinion, is already kind of out of control. And it reminded me of a movie came out years and years ago. I have it on DVD. It's called Wag the Dog. If you've never seen it before, I'm not sure. I'm assuming someplace it streams. I don't know. It stars Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro. And Dustin Hoffman plays kind of the Republican, or the, I guess, well, it's insinuated it's Republican, a White House presidential operative. And the president is caught in a sex scandal in this fictitious narrative 2 weeks before an election. And they need to change the narrative. And so Dustin Hoffman's character hires his friend, a Hollywood producer-director played by Robert De Niro. And they essentially create a fictitious war via the media. And the funny part is Robert De Niro's, they get faced with all these seemingly insurmountable things, and De Niro's character, the producer, says, this is nothing. This is nothing. I can fix this. We'll shoot this way. We'll create this story. Oh, and they need a song. They create a war hero from this fictitious war, which was played by Woody Harrelson, by the way. And we need a song. So they hire Willie Nelson to come in and write a song about it. It's really funny. But there's also a point to it that, and remember this like 20 years ago. So think what now, with AI and everything, what you can create with deepfakes and everything. But so that over the weekend, it reminded me of this. So here's, I don't want to go through every point and I know people are kind of tired, but there's a point to my commentary here, and that is based in Wisconsin. I'm going to get to that, but let's back up for a minute and find out what really precipitated this. So Stephen Miller, the schlep in the White House, Trump's lapdog, is angry because the INS, or now known as ICE, the immigration folks, Homeland Security, have not deported enough people of color, i.e. Latinos, out of the country. He's upset because the numbers are too low. So he literally went over and yelled at him. And so now what they've done, they had a big initiative last week in Los Angeles where they went to Home Depots. Because particularly in L.A., what will happen is some people who are documented, some people who aren't, they'll hang out in the Home Depot parking lot because a lot of contractors buy stuff and they're looking for a couple of guys for day help. And they say, hey, I'll pay you X number of dollars an hour. I need a roof done, or I need a fence done, or whatever. And some people were checkout people, like hired by Home Depot. So ICE targets Home Depot in some cases to round up people. And in other cases in Los Angeles, they were arresting mothers of kids that had kids in grade schools. And so and in some cases, people were appearing, and this is what, it's all bad in my opinion, but people who are trying to do it, quote unquote, the right way, and might have a temporary status here that is legal, or they're going in to meet with a immigration judge or whomever, the agency, a check-in. Hey, you're here legally for 6 months, but you have to check in with us every other month. Great, I'll go in, I'll do it the right way. And folks are doing this, and they're being arrested even though they have legal status and doing it the right way, and deported, thrown out of the country, simply to make Stephen Miller and Trump happy so they get their numbers high enough. Well, as you can imagine, and I think it was pointed out by somebody in Los Angeles, I can't remember whether it was Governor Newsom of California, somebody pointed out that in the city of Los Angeles, it's comprised of about 34% of Angelenos were not born here. They were originally born in other countries, and they immigrated here. I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles over the years. It's a beautiful city in many ways. Like every major city, it has its problems. But it's a beautiful and very proud people. And so you might imagine that in a city with 34% of the folks not originally born here, that when you start and this is not the quote-unquote rapists and murderers, unquote, that Trump makes them out to be. These are moms. These are folks who are building fences for people in Los Angeles. These are just good, hard-working folks, many of whom have legal status, who are being thrown out, rounded up, no due process. And so, as you can imagine, that did not sit well with many Angelenos. And so they had a peaceful protest and demonstration, and that got bigger. Trump sends in the National Guard, which had not been done like this since the 60s, the civil rights days. Now, during the Rodney King riots in 1992, which, by the way, I visited Los Angeles during the Rodney King riot. I remember flying in at night over L.A., going to land at LAX. I looked down, and I'm only exaggerating somewhat when I said it looked like the city was on fire, because there were little fires you could see from the skies. You're coming in all over the greater Los Angeles area. It was eerie. The whole, as you descended into the lower altitudes, the whole atmosphere was filled with smoke. It was crazy. That's very different from what we're facing in Los Angeles today. This is a relatively small area of downtown Los Angeles. There are not mass riots happening right now in L.A. But the news media, and particularly the Trump folks and Fox News, are hyping this up. You'd think the whole city was on fire. And it's kind of gotten out of control. So this narrative has been created. So Trump says Stephen Miller used the word insurrection over the weekend, which is ironic because, of course, the Trump people actually were part of an attempted insurrection back on January 6th, of course, which the bipartisan Congressional Committee on January 6th found to be true. So Stephen Miller throws out the word insurrection. And Trump is quoted over the weekend repeatedly saying law and order, which, even if you're not a history person, because people say, well, look back in history. There might be people out there that are like Star Trek fans or Star Wars fans. Go back and watch some of your favorite movies. And just listen to how many times the bad characters say things like law and order. Well, this is all about law and order. It's oftentimes a trope, an adage, a phrase is thrown out there to justify doing illegal things or fascist types of activities. So Trump his administration sent in folks to arrest people, not give them due process. Surprise, surprise. Folks in the community are upset. They peacefully protest. Trump then orders in the National Guard, which only heightens the anxiety. And guess what? When you have a bunch of people start mingling together, there's always going to be some schmucks in the crowd. And this is where I want to be really, really clear about my own opinions here. I don't care who it is, if it's January 6th protesters or insurrectionists or rioters or whether it's people in Los Angeles or people in downtown Madison. If you attack police officers, law enforcement, military unprovoked, you should be arrested, given due process, and if found guilty, sentenced to jail. Period. That's inexcusable, in my opinion. And what happened was Los Angeles, apparently over the weekend, is that you had some people that were protesters, that some of them were in masks. We don't know whether they were actually part of the Los Angeles community or whether they were people that said, hey, there's something going on. Let's get in on the deal. But somebody started throwing things and attacking police officers in some cases. And so guess what? Then law enforcement, in some cases, overreacts and starts firing rubber bullets in and tear gas. And pretty soon you got yourself a mess. And again, the national media has blown this up, and this is only fueling, in my opinion, the Trump narrative. And so now, over the last half an hour, breaking news, according to CNN, Trump is now mobilizing 700 Marines to go in and, in their words, quell the violence. By the way, Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat of California, doesn't want, he's like, look, we can make this work with our police officers. We don't need National Guard coming in here. They're filing lawsuits to try to stop this. Well, good luck with that. I mean, I love this, all this talk. Well, lawsuits are being filed. Well, great. Newsom, Merrick Garland had 4 years to do stuff with lawsuits to stop Trump. How did that work out? Not so great. But lawsuits are being filed. So anyway, this is where we sit. So now Trump's escalating this. I'll get to my point. My point is, and I was listening to Tom Hartman earlier before our show, and I agree with him on this point. I agree with Tom Hartman. I think that what's happening in Los Angeles right now is a precursor for what's going to happen on Saturday. This coming Saturday for the big Trump military parade. More on that later. And there's counter protests all over the country. I think Trump's going to use that as a reason to call out military and then be a disruptor all summer long. And then this is a precursor for what keyword could happen in 2026, which is, we're going to call out the military to make sure, quote unquote, make sure that elections are free and fair, when it's really about intimidation at the polls. So I want to be really careful and not overhype this. And this, you got Democrats out there saying, we're at war. Some woman out there who's a congresswoman out there in LA was screaming at the top, this is war. Please give me a break. Has that person ever actually served in war? It's only ginning people up. You can say this is unacceptable. You could say we're going to peacefully protest. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, I'm not I don't have a degree on Martin Luther King Jr., but I've heard a lot of his speeches. I never heard him call people to violence and say things like war. We have some cuts we're going to try to get to here. First of all, I want to go to Jack and Merrimack, 855-752-4842. Jack, thanks for calling. What say you?
Well, two things. First of all, what do you call it when you have someone who is masked comes into someone's home, their church, or their school, and pulls them out and drags them off to a foreign country? They are wearing masks. They have no ID. They are not in official vehicles, but they are sponsored by the government. I would call that government-sponsored domestic terrorism. Now, that's, you may think that's overhyped. I don't think so.
Hang on, Jack. Hang on, Jack. Don't go anywhere. Up against the clock. Stay through the break. I'll get your rest of it on the other side. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
Cool off the summer at Frosty's, West Madison small batch ice cream shop. Enjoy rich, handcrafted flavors and soak up the sun on the outdoor patio. And if you mention you heard this on the radio, get 5% off. Frosty's, 702 South Gammon Road.
Buying a home is kind of like eating pistachios. Some are easy to open, some take a little work, and every once in a while, you get a tough one that makes you question your life choices. That's where we come in. At Aaron Weber Group, we crack open the market and find you the perfect home. Whether you're looking for a cozy starter home or a mansion with a snack pantry big enough for a lifetime supply of pistachios, we've got you covered. Call Aaron Weber Group at Powered by Compass today. We'll help you find a home that's nothing but perfect.
Herbal Aspect has landed. That's right. Madison's go-to cannabis destination now has a brand new location in Sun Prairie. Wait, 4 locations? That's a high level of convenience. With 3 Madison locations and now
They
Sun
said
Prairie,
nothing
a
but
great
perfect
cannabis
after talking about
experience is
cracking
always
open
close by.
earlier,
Our
so I
expert
just tried to
staff
do
is here to help. Whether you
exaggerated
walk in,
wheezing
call,
laugh
or
and make
order
myself
online. Mention
That's not
Radio
good.
420 and get a special discount. So stop by Herbal Aspect in Sun Prairie because great cannabis isn't just a pipe dream.
Nice. I'm rolling over now.
Herbal Aspect.
Spring is here. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood with EB3 Landscaping. With 15 years of top quality service, they treat your property like their own. 608-209-2185 for expert care and a vibrant tomorrow.
It's time for Civic Media's Scotty Summer Text to Win contest right here on this local Civic Media radio station. We want to hook you up with $100 cash, Milwaukee Brewers Club level tickets, and the chance to win a summer getaway to the Wisconsin Dells area or an escape to Door County. Download the free Civic Media app in the Google Play or App Store. Then listen in for the keywords during the 7 and 11 a.m. hour and 2 and 4 p.m. hour. Text in the keyword and get set to win. It's Civic Media's Scotty Summer.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Michael Negron of the Small Business Majority.
You know, the Trump administration thinks that they're doing solid for small business with their policies. And so
Very
having
thanks.
business
Thank you.
owners out there talking about how, whether it's tariffs, whether it's potential.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show across Civic Media. It's 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock at the top of the hour. ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of the stations you listen to. Weather and sports. Again, J.R. Alexander is cut by the Packers, released, I should say. Update on that. And then the Maggie Dawn Show, 4 until 6, and then 6 until 8, Pete Schwaba and Nightlight talking about what's happening out in L.A. and these riots out there, or I should say protests, and some of them became violent, and the Trump administration, in my opinion, is overreacted by sending the military, and now they're saying 700 active duty Marines. In my opinion, this is setting it up for something larger. One of our texters texting in saying a police state is the goal. Immigration is merely the means to an end. I agree with that. And so anyway, let's go back to Jack, because Jack, you had a second point. You were cut off by the I can't control the computers, Jack. Sorry about that. Go ahead and make your second point.
No problem. The second thing is this. I'm a real old guy, and I distinctly remember when the National Guard was called out for protests against the Vietnam War. And there was a situation there where there were guardsmen with live ammunition and a bunch of students protesting. Somebody started firing, and several people died.
Right.
If you think that the Marines are going to be there with blanks or rubber bullets or non-live ammunition, I don't think so. The Marines don't do that, I don't think. So I would, this is a very dangerous situation. It's purposely being set up by the Trump administration. And like the Vietnam War, that was one of the things that caused it basically turned the narrative around and eventually led to the stop of the war. I hope it doesn't take something that terrible, but I'm afraid that it might.
Yeah. Appreciate the call, Jack, as always. 855-752-4842. Let's go out to Los Angeles, California, where the events are unfolding. L.A. Tom, thanks for calling in. From your perspective, what do you see?
Hey, Todd. First, we are the fourth largest economy in the world. 50% of our population are Latinos. I don't know. I've seen more reporters, and I've seen more, than actual protesters at some of these things. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is Trump getting us ready for martial law, and everyone better be aware of it.
Right.
Because of the fact, yes, we need to protest peacefully like we are doing.
Right.
And be careful for the instigators that are out there. But there is absolutely no comparison between this and January 6th. And January 6th.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm up against the clock. I want to know this because I'm happy you called in. I was out there at the height of the Rodney King riots in '92 when LA was actually burning. I mean, my sense is this is contained to a small area of downtown. Is that accurate?
Very, very, very small. It actually, the largest part was in Paramount. And that wasn't even a large thing because Paramount's not that big. And it's mostly 100% Latino in Paramount. Right. And this is Donald Trump trying to set another fire and run away from the fire.
Yeah, I totally agree. But he precipitated this by revving up these
completely
non due process apprehensions. Guess what? It ticked people off, and now I'm so disappointed in so much of the national media because they're portraying this as another Rodney King thing where the whole LA is burning down.
That is complete BS. Everybody has been peaceful here. In fact, they think one of the fire things that the National Guard let off actually started the fire on the car. They showed a thing from 2020 on the TV. It wasn't even 2000. I mean,
and I'm not sure we have time. I'm not sure we have time to play this, Tom. But we have footage. I'm sure you've seen it of this foreign reporter being shot by, I think it was LAPD with a rubber bullet. Well, let's play this quick, Zombers. Here we go. Here's actual footage.
Hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. You just shut the fuck up.
That was real time, where the video shows at point blank range. Former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger, a veteran himself, saw this and said this guy should be prosecuted. And like I said, to the front of this segment, I denounce anybody who unprovoked attacks law enforcement. But by the same token, this idiot who point blank shot a reporter, that guy should be held accountable as well.
Absolutely, and I'm telling you what. Donald Trump is we had no problems here in this state. We've had no problems in the state. And now all of a sudden he comes in and starts instigating and the problems are starting.
Right.
You know what? Leave us alone.
And LA, I mean, I'm sorry we're running out of time. I shouldn't assume, but my guess is Maggie's going to talk about this on her show at some point as well. But I'm so disappointed in the Democrats because you got my least favorite Martin, the DNC chair, sniveling in a ballroom in suburban D.C. over David Hogg. If I were in charge of the Democrats, I'd have Senator Duckworth of Illinois, a veteran, Pete Buttigieg, a veteran, and somebody else, and have a press conference say, we as Democrats denounce unprovoked attack on law enforcement, but we as veterans, we protected the Constitution, and we're going to stand up against. Where are the Democrats, L.A.?
Well, I will tell you this. The state Democrats, so you got the mayor and you got the governor here.
20 seconds.
Are doing a hell of a good job. And they are saying those things. They're saying, look, we don't need this in our thing. And Maxine Waters is there as well. So it's people that actually are from here.
Thanks so much, LA, for calling in. Hopefully you continue to call in, give us an on-ground report. We really appreciate it. Many thanks to Senator Keller Royce for being here as well. Ali, I'm sorry we didn't get you to tomorrow's Zombers as well. All of you for listening. Stay safe out there, everybody. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. Back tomorrow.
And your day will come. Keep banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
Adios, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.